What's up, everybody? Welcome into MLB DFS Live for Monday, April 12th. I'm your host, Ben Husser, joined by Justin Bales. Bales, we've had an eventful morning here at DFSCommer.com. Lots going on. A lot of action tonight. I guess we don't know if there's going to be some more game cancellations, so we'll wait and see on that. But I think we should probably be good at least for baseball. But we'll wait and see. As of now, I think this is a pretty good slate. 12 games, lots of pitching options, and going to be interesting for tournaments because I think a lot of the ownership will be concentrated on the same type of build. So we're going to talk about some pitchers, stacks, and just some of our favorite plays. We'll take questions as well. So how are you doing today, Bills? What's your thoughts on the slate?
Not too bad, not too bad. Pretty good day. I really like this slate. I think that there's a lot of different ways you can go. I think it is really obvious. We're kind of going to talk about the chalk. Like, there's one pitcher that is going to be on to like 100%, which he probably should be. But I do think that there's a lot of different ways that you can go. And just based on the pricing alone, it's going to kind of you're going to have to decide whether you want to pay up for two pitchers. If you want to spend down on one, go kind of mid-priced. If you want to spend up for bats and everything. So I do think that this is like a really, really interesting slate. And honestly, it might be the most interesting that we've had so far this year.
Yeah, it's definitely big 12 game slate and there's no cores, which helps. That was kind of bad, like having cores the first week. I don't know, just because that's what everyone focuses on. So it kind of takes the fun out of it right away. But yeah, this is a good slate. So we'll start with pitchers. I think I have our pitcher projections up here. You can see Tyler Glasnow is the highest projected pitcher, just under 25 DraftKings points, followed by Garrett Cole and Freddie Peralta. So I think most people on DraftKings will play Glasnow with Peralta, and then they'll get like the A's stack in. The A's are up against Madison Bumgarner, who allows a ton of power. His strikeouts have been declining for multiple years now. So I think that's kind of going to be like the chalk build. Glasnow, I wrote him up. He's the best pitcher today, obviously, just because he matches up with the Rangers, who are horrible against right-handed pitching. They just got no hit a couple nights ago, and he's taken that leap forward, at least in his first two starts of the year, adding that slider. He's throwing it over a third of the time. And it's funny, like his slider, it's not even that good yet, but it's just the fact of having that as an option when your first two pitches are so good. It's just really hard for hitters to figure him out. So I definitely think that's good chalk, and I'm fine playing Glasnow today. Peralta, I mean, I like him, and I like the matchup. The Cubs strike out a ton. I'm just not scared of their lineup right now against righties, but it worries me when someone like him becomes really chalky. So I think for tournaments, maybe you could look elsewhere. I don't know if you disagree with that.
No, I agree. I think Glasnow is the very obvious option. You're probably just going to use him anyway. Although, with both Garrett Cole and Zach Greinke around him, I do think that there's two solid pivots. I mean, you're not going to play either one of those two over Glasnow and cash. Even so, in tournaments, I think it's really risky. But Peralta is one of the guys that I really don't want to play chalky. I know that the strikeout upside's there. I bet on him in his last game. Like, I do really like him, and I don't think that Chicago has the team that's really going to, shell him or anything. But at the same time, chalk Peralta just isn't my cup of tea. So I probably avoid him in tournaments. I do think he's relatively fine in cash. I think that also is going to be the very popular build going Glasnow Peralta.
Yeah, and he's kind of at a disadvantage. I don't like early on in the season when a team sees a guy and then the next matchup they see him again. Like Peralta just pitched against the Cubs, so they did just see him, which is another con for me for tournaments. So if you plug in Glasnow and Peralta, you're left with around $4,000 per position on DraftKings. If you plug in Glasnow and Cole, it's it's just over 3,600. So I do think you can play Glasnow and Cole together. Cole obviously has a tougher matchup than Glasnow, but his strikeout stuff is just as good. He's obviously really good. And he has really good career numbers versus Blue Jays team. Over 100 plate appearances against their current roster, 33% strikeouts, and under a 250 WOBA allowed to them. So really good numbers against him. And it's Garrett Cole, right? Like we don't, you guys don't need us to tell you to play him. So I do think you can play him and Glassnow together. Are you interested in playing Cole in tournaments?
Yeah, I have no problems there at all. I don't really want to attack this Toronto team, but with a pitcher like Garrett Cole, I don't really have any issues. I think if you're looking to move off of Glass now, though, you also need to at least consider Zach Greinke. Detroit strikes out more than Toronto. I know that obviously Greinke's strikeout stuff isn't even close to Cole, and I don't necessarily know if the opponent's strikeout prep bat really matter that much for a guy like Cole. But I think that it's a really fine spot for Greinke, and he's 500 cheaper. So I think that's also an interesting spot off of Glass now if you don't want to get all the way up to Cole. But I do think if I'm picking between the three, I think I would rank them Glass now, Cole, Greinke personally.
Yeah, I would as well. Greinke is fine. I'm gonna pass on him. I just don't play guys like him in DFS when they're priced up, but I totally like understand it. Why people want to play him. I just always hunt for strikeouts more. Even though like the Tigers do strike out a lot, so he could have a good matchup tonight. But like his strikeout stuff is just so much lower than Glasnow or Cole. I would side with them. I like both Carlos Rodon and Sandy Alcantara tonight. Their prices are going to leave them really low owned on DraftKings, I think, because Rodon in particular is 9,400. Like it's only 1,000 more to get up to Glass now. Everyone will do that. And then Alcantara is 1,000 more than Freddie Peralta, who we think is going to be really high owned. So I think both of those guys are going to be low owned, and I like them a lot. Rodon looked really good in his first start. He looked really good in spring training. His velocity was there, topped out at 98. In that first start against the Mariners. He owns the Indians. I can tell you this as an Indians fan. I'm not a huge BVP guy, but for whatever reason, he has just destroyed the Indians in his career. And Alcantara, I mean, he's looked really good his first couple starts. This has always been someone that has had potential, but it looks like he's putting it all together. He's changed up his pitch mix a little bit more. It's really increased his strikeouts. The Braves are a super scary lineup, and I don't want to pick on them, but they are predominantly right-handed. And outside of Freddie Freeman, who are you really scared of that's not right-handed in that lineup? So I think for tournaments, it would be really interesting to look at him. And he is good against righties, so I like both of them in GPPs.
Yeah, I'm fine with either. I feel like there's a lot of really solid options. It's kind of weird, but I think either Aaron Sanchez or Wade Miley are both reasonable tonight. I wouldn't really put an emphasis on either one, but I do think that they're fine. I think if you want to go all the way down, John Gant against Washington is a fine play. I want to say that I'm still on Chase Anderson. I actually think that he's a better pitcher than he's shown. I think that all of his advanced metrics show that he actually is better. The problem obviously being the rain. And do I really trust the Mets at this point to get a game in? Not particularly. So I think if we get news that that game is like 100% going to play, because obviously you can't just you can't really trust them to say that the game's starting after the whole Marcus Stroman thing. I do think that Anderson's a fine play. Outside of that, though, I don't know. I think you can take a few shots, but no one that I really love. Are you interested at all just because he's so cheap in someone like Dean Kramer?
Yeah, I was going to mention him. I was waiting. Just one, his name's Creamer, which is just incredible.
Is that how it's pronounced?
That's electric. But no, I actually think if you're going to take one of these real cheap guys, he's my favorite today on DraftKings. 6,500, obviously super good matchup against the Mariners. He actually has good strikeout stuff, right? Around 26, 27% strikeout stuff. The walks have been way up in the majors, like scary to the point that it's like, I think it's like 14, 15% walk rate. But he never had that. Like his control was never that bad in the minors, and his walk rate was never anywhere near that. So I don't really know what to make of that. But he does have decent strikeout stuff, and he's playing the Mariners. So yeah, I'm interested in DraftKings for tournaments as like an SP2.
Yeah, I'm pretty cool with it. I think if I'm going that low, I think I'm probably just dropping a Gant though. I mean, 57, you're
I
not
know you're a
really.
Gant guy. I don't know what to make of him. His velo was down like really bad in that first start. I know he didn't pitch bad, but I'm a little bit concerned.
I mean, I don't think he's great by
I
any
mean, he is
means.
really
You know,
cheap. He is really cheap.
yeah, no, that's the point. Like when you look at what he's done, um, I know he's been worse as a starter, but you kind of have to look past it a little bit. I think even in like 2018, he wasn't really bad. His xFIP was under 5, and it's not like I think he's going to go out there and be an ace or anything. But at 5,700, you're getting a guy that has had an xFIP under 5 in all but one season. And the season that he didn't, he played in 7 games. He only started 2 of them. Last year, in which very very limited innings, I think he threw like 15. His xFIP was down at 3. So none of them starts also. So that's more or less why I say he's been better as a reliever. The season before, another reliever. I don't think he goes like ridiculously deep into the game or anything, but again, only 5,700. It's not like you need him to go 8 innings or anything.
Yeah, just the price definitely interests me, but I think I like Creamer a little bit more. Um, do you like anyone else at pitcher? I think it's pretty like we're obviously interested in the top two there. Peralta's going to be chalk, so I'm cool with him in cash, but I'm fine pivoting in tournaments. I really like Alcantara and Rodon, and then I like Creamer for cheap. I think that's pretty much my pool today.
Yeah, I think we basically hit everyone. I think if you want to take like a weird shot, McKenzie is a decent one. I think I agree with you that I would probably just play Rodon at that price though.
Yeah. Yeah, McKenzie, I like him obviously. Like he can get strikeouts. He just gives up a lot of power, and he is really raw still. And like the White Sox have a lot of power, so I'm just a little bit concerned
Mm-hmm.
about that matchup. But it wouldn't shock me if he had a good start. But he's 9,200, man. Like I would
That's
much
my
rather
problem.
play. Yeah, I would much rather play Sandy than I would McKenzie today. I think.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
All right. Let's talk stacks. You can. So I think in terms of ownership, like the A's are going to be really highly owned. I think the Yankees will be popular against Robbie Ray, who loves to give up hard contact to right-handed batters. And I think some of the Astros could get popular against Casey Mize, even though Casey Mize is good. He does struggle with lefties, and some of the Astros lefties are pretty affordable. So I think those guys will get ownership, but I think the A's are just going to be far and above everyone else in terms of ownership, especially if people are spending up at pitching. So I do think they're great for cash games, but who is like your favorite stack today, non Oakland A's?
I think if I had to pick just a favorite, I would go with the Yankees. Robbie Ray just, it doesn't look like the Robbie Ray that we know. And with them having so many right-handed bats, it's just kind of like a matchup made in heaven. I think if I'm taking something a little weirder, because obviously the Yankees are going to be a little chalky, I would probably drop down to the Brewers. I played them yesterday in a spot where, a lot of people played Ponce de Leon. I don't think that Alzolay is a very good pitcher, honestly, especially at this point. Um, Milwaukee's better than they've been too. I think that's one of the weird things that people do is early in the season they get so high or so low on specific offenses, specific pitchers, and everything, and it's like just give them more than a week to kind of even out. And I don't think that Milwaukee just all of the sudden has this terrible offense. I think that they're going to be relatively fine, and I feel like this is just a really good spot for them.
Yeah, they've been hitting the ball really well the last couple days too, so that's good. I think like Yankees and A's are great. I have no problems with them. I'll have exposure there in cash. I like the Nationals a lot. I know you kind of talked about Gant, but I'm just gonna chase that velocity being down. I don't think anyone will play the Nationals, and their lineup did just came out, and they did get some of their COVID guys back. So Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber are back in the lineup. So you got those guys with Soto and Turner. I think that's a pretty good stack. I think Robles is leading off as well. So I like the Nationals in tournaments a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problems. It's not like I'm so high on Gant that I wouldn't touch the Nationals. I think, they're a relatively fine stack. I feel like there's other places that I'd rather go. Baltimore seems kind of interesting against Sheffield. Not a great lefty. My big problem is that he's also like not atrocious to the point where I feel like they're absolutely going to rock him. And then San Francisco, I feel like anytime they play a lefty, it's a reasonable stack. The only problem is you're only getting so many innings against that lefty, and then you got guys like Darren Ruff in your lineup.
Yeah. Um, I don't disagree. The last one I'm talking about is the Angels. I mean, I like Singer, but the Angels do have Trout and Rendon, and then they have two really good lefties in Jared Walsh and Otani. So I think that's always a good stack, pretty much most nights. So you could sell me on them today, but I like the Nationals more than them. I think
Yeah, I would be cool with the Angels. I would need to check their prices because I know that they were just
Walsh is like dumb
absolutely
expensive on
insane.
DraftKings. He's like 4,700 or something now. I think Walsh is actually more expensive than Otani.
He is. He's 200 more. To be fair, he's been incredible.
All right. If you guys have questions, drop them. We don't have to go through each position, but we can kind of talk about some plays we like at each position. I think catcher on DraftKings, I'll be trying to save. Like if I could spend up, I like Sanchez obviously because we're gonna like the Yankees right-handed power today. But I don't know if I'll be able to get up there. If I can't, I think Higashioka will actually catch today. Sanchez might DH, but Higashioka usually catches Garrett Cole, so he should be in the lineup. He's what 3,100 on DraftKings. I think you could sell me on that. Righty on lefty. We might get some other cheap catchers like opening up too, but I'm gonna try and save a catcher per usual. I think.
Yeah, I think two guys that I like are one, Sean Murphy. I feel like he'll probably be relatively popular. He's only
Yeah.
3,500. Gets the matchup against Bumgarner. And two, if I'm just going to punt, I'm probably just going to take Alex Jackson. He's 2,300. I don't like the matchup against Alcantara, but I don't really care that much. And he's hitting seventh, so it's not like he's hitting ninth in the lineup or anything crazy.
Yeah. I'm curious what the Nationals prices are. I'm gonna kind of check here. All right, Josh. Oh my God, Josh Bell's 3,100 on DraftKings. Can I interest you in that?
Yeah, I would be fine with it. My big thing is Dan Vogelbach is only 3,000. So
Yeah.
would I really play Josh Bell over Vogelbach? I think it's a pretty toss up. I think I would lean Vogelbach though.
Yeah, Vogie's in what second?
Yep.
Yeah, it's close. I think I like Bell a little bit. I don't know. I'll have to dig into that. Yankees lineup just came out. What do we got here? LeMahieu, Stanton, Judge, Torres, Urshela's batting fifth. No Gary Sanchez, but Higashioka is catching. No Gary Sanchez in the lineup, but
I mean, I would be fine with that. I feel like any righty in their lineup at this point can really be used. I think
yeah,
that Urshela at 4,200 is a little cheap too.
yeah, I like that he's up. Normally he's farther, a little bit down in the order, so I like that. Um, okay, give me like your. I'm gonna try and build a lineup here and just see who I got. What's like your favorite two or three bats on this slate? Okay,
Just
if you have to
favorite
pick
two or
one, if you
three?
have to pick Judge or Stanton, which one are you picking? I would lean Judge, I think.
Yeah, I think Judge for me.
Yep.
I think if you're playing Judge, I would probably just put LeMahieu in there.
Okay.
And then, I mean, are you not willing to play Stanton?
Yeah, no, I think they're fine. I don't know if you can fit both. I guess you probably can.
I mean, I would just throw in Gleyber Torres. Then he's 4,500. It's just way too cheap.
Yeah, I mean Jackson is super cheap, 2,300. I don't want to play him against Sandy. I think he'll be chalk though, man. Honestly, 2,300.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't hate it. I would be fine just plugging him in. The problem is, obviously, you don't really want the chalk punt catcher, really. But
Yeah, until he hits a home run and you're like, oh my god.
yeah, he automatically lose.
All right, so I think for cash games for me, in terms of building blocks, outside of pitcher, I think Josh Bell, I think is going to be a building block for me at 3,100. I think Ramon Laureano is a lock at 3,800 on DraftKings against Bumgarner. I think he'll be really high owned. So there's two, and then one more, probably Torres at 4,500 at shortstop. Batting cleanup is probably the other one, I guess.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that. I think guys like the entire Milwaukee team is just priced so ridiculously.
What's the weather like there? Let me check. Or are
It's in
they?
a dome,
Oh,
isn't it?
are they at home? I thought they were still on the road.
Yeah. Vogelbach's 3,
Mm.
Shaw's 4, which is a little expensive for him, but Lorenzo Cain's 3, Jackie Bradley Jr.'s 31, and Avisel Garcia is 33.
Yeah,
So
I've played Garcia. I had a really good lineup. Early slate core plays on Saturday were really good. I had Garcia. He was like 6% owned. Something crazy.
yeah,
And he's
it's
been hitting
pretty
the ball
nuts.
well too.
Someone asked, "Will Mets Phillies get postponed?"
Yeah,
It seems like it.
I think Mets Phillies is gonna get postponed. I think every other game should be good though, weather wise. I think that's the only
That's
one.
what I'm. That's what I know. There's showers in the Baltimore game, I think, but it doesn't look like enough to take the game out.
Oh man, 55 degrees, wind blowing in for Dean Kremer. Can I interest you there?
Uh, yeah, honestly, not really. I can't imagine I play him tonight
All
now.
right, it's really hot in Atlanta, 81. I bet 81 with wind blowing slightly out. I bet that's the best hitting weather on the slate, to be honest. Because I think it's cold, like East Coast everywhere, dude. Cold and raining.
Yeah. What about Dane Dunning? We didn't talk about him at all, but he's actually a good pitcher, and it's not like Tampa Bay is lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of him because so they're doing the thing. Him and that Hearn guy, they're using like it's like dual starters. Okay, so like they're using Dunning and then they're putting Hearn in after him. And I think it's just completely contingent on how Dunning pitches. Like that first game, he pitched really well. So he stayed in there for 5 innings and then they put Hearn in. I think
Yeah.
if he like runs into problems, like they might just yank him. I don't know. I could be wrong, but like they could just literally take him out at any moment.
Yeah, I know they are doing that whole weird thing, but at the same time, like Hearn, the most he pitched so far this year was 2.1 innings. So it's not like
He like only throws fastballs, I think, too. Like he has really good stuff. He's left-handed and throws upper 90s, but I think he like mainly throws fastballs. So I think the Rays could score some runs on him if they put him in.
I would hope they give Dunning at least a leash.
All right, winds blowing out 12 miles per hour in the Indians White Sox game. So
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
not good for
Fran
McKenzie, I
Milroy
don't think, and not good for Rodon.
Rodon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 57 at the Angels Royals game. No real wind bump. Yeah, so it looks like best hitting weather looks like that Braves game, like by far. I don't really want to pick on Sandy though.
Is 71 and 8 miles an hour to right. So that's actually not that bad.
Where at for that?
Toronto, but
Oh yeah,
Florida.
because it's in Florida. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
That's
So
actually that is a slight concern for Cole. Not that it's gonna take me off of him, but his one Achilles heel is he gives up some home runs, and that is like a little bit of a smaller park. So I'm sure he'll give up like a solo shot or two tonight.
I think that's actually oddly interesting for the Yankees too, because I don't know how to play that because obviously it helps left-handed bats a lot more if it's blowing to right. So
Yeah.
If
I
that was
think just
blowing to
being
left, I feel
just
like I
being
would
in
have
that
all day
park though,
on
just being in that park is gonna help the Yankees though, man.
That's
Like I
fair.
really
Yeah, I
think
agree with
because
that.
I was watching that like the Angels Blue Jays game there, and it was just it seemed like really good hitting wise. I don't have the exact dimensions, but
Yeah. No, I got you.
all right, give me a home run call for today.
Home run call. I'll tell you, Rubes is
No,
Jordan.
okay, that's a
He,
good one. I thought it was gonna be some Jeff McNeil, something like that.
Jeff,
You know,
okay,
some
that's a
Mets
pretty good
player.
one. I will go. I'm gonna go Alec Bohm if they play.
Okay, I like that. I like Alec Boehm a lot. Mine's Juan Soto, like 100,000%.
Juan Soto.
Yeah, he's in home run today.
I. It's gonna be hard to
Hard
hit
to
one off
argue that
the game.
one, but I also don't think he'll be owned because if people are spinning up at outfield, they're getting the Yankees guys.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's really gonna play. I mean, Soto will always get a
Yeah,
little bit of
he'll get
ownership.
his like 5 or 6%. I don't think he'll be much more than that.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna get a lot.
All right, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions, hop in our Discord. It's free, dfscomer.com. There's a button right at the top there. You can get in our Discord for free. Ask us any questions you want. We will be back tomorrow. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. Bales will not. Talk about some baseball. But good luck tonight, and see you guys tomorrow.